Hello and welcome to another Wednesday episode. So we're continuing our series on breaking down Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, the book that I really enjoy and that has changed my life. So looking at it through the lens of forest school. Last time we looked at habit number 1, which is being proactive. Number 2 is probably my favorite habit, which is begin with the end in mind. Probably, if you've been listening to this podcast or have met me a couple of times, this is one of my favorites and something that I've talked about quite often because it is foundational. It should be foundational, and it often isn't. We get too involved in doing something without thinking adequately about why we're doing something. And if we approach everything from the point of view, what are we hoping to achieve? If we're planning a session, what do we want the children to get out of it? If we're planning a workshop or whatever, what skills, knowledge and or experiences do we want people to leave this? If you're building an organization, what is the goal of this organization? What is the mission? And this is something we can, it's really, when I say foundational, I believe this should probably be habit number 1, but habit number 1 with being proactive is probably the first to just shake you off the mindset of being a victim and bringing you into personal action. And then this is how you know which actions to take. The idea with begin with the end in mind is that you lead with principles, is that you define what the mission is, what your own personal mission is, what the vision is, and then you can move forward from there. Then every decision becomes easy to make because it gives you a decision-making framework. If you're deciding whether to change jobs, if you're deciding whether to start up new sessions, if you have set up the higher level thinking properly, then the decisions become a lot easier. So at the highest level, what this means is taking a good look at what your own goals in life, what is your mission here on this earth. And this involves some deeper thinking. You've got to be thinking about what you want to do to make a difference in the world, what kind of life you want to live personally. You're thinking about what sort of family you want, who do you want around you, what kind of lifestyle. This is setting out a grand vision, a mission for how things are going to move forward. If you know at a core what your principles are, what do you value? Do you value honesty, integrity? Do you value freedom to do what you like in the way that you do? And really setting out what you want in life then starts making things easier, because if given a choice between one job or another, or one partner or another, you can pretty much ask, well, okay, which one of these choices fulfills the values and principles I have? Is this moving me towards my mission, or is it moving further away? And that's a critical thought. As long as you have that upper level framework as a person, you go, okay, it's cascading down from there. You start making little choices. I mean, some choices might take you away in one direction, but bring you back in others. Might bring you full circle. But as long as you keep looking at that, it's like lighthouse in the distance or beacon, and you're moving towards it, you always know that you're going to keep moving forward. You might get sidetracked due to personal circumstances, but as long as you keep bringing that course back, then eventually you're going to be moving in the direction that you want to end up. So it really starts with you. then you may well create a mission statement or a vision for your family. And that is, okay, what is the goal of the family? Is it to bring as many people together and support each other? Does it have certain religious or spiritual missions? Is it there to help out as many other people as possible? Does family extend beyond you and your partner and your children? Where does it all go? So that's the key. And then bringing it directly relevant to Forest School Art Learning. It's asking, what is your mission as a Forest School leader? Even if you don't own a business, if you're working for another school, if you have your own thing that is distinct from, say you provide Forest School sessions for a school, okay? Unless you have higher up Forest School people, you are essentially operating as a miniature business within an organization. And so it is your duty to define what the outcomes of the Forest School sessions are. What is the mission? What are the principles that guide it? So we talked about missions before. What is your social mission? It's okay, thinking what sort of outcomes do we want for the children? What do we want them to gain at the end of this program? If they've gone through Forest School for 12 years or 5 years, 5 months, 5 weeks, what do we want them to be like at the end of it? What to do it? So that's one component. The other component is how we achieve it. What are the principles? And this may mean wholeheartedly adopting the Forest School principles, but it's important to think about whether those principles actually do align with your own. Whether it's actually something you believe in only or are only doing because the Forest School principles are Forest School principles. Some of the Forest School principles don't work for the sessions that I offer. I said I'm working with home-age families. They tend to get a lot of child-led play. So that's why, for me, the focus is going to be a lot more on developing skills, abilities. But if we go to principles, the underlying principle may well be the same. The principle is that I want to build confidence and ability in the learners. And I want to do it with honesty and integrity. So as long as I keep those principles, then whenever something changes or something shifts or I'm required to make a choice, I can always come back to some of those principles, guiding principles, and they will help me make a decision as to whether this is for or against my general principles and values. And whether we're talking about organization, this is really valuable. Because as soon as you start employing other people or start getting people working underneath you, you need to have guiding principles. Because otherwise, you really can't complain whichever direction they take it in. So you've got to be clear on mission and you've got to be clear on principles. If the principle is that the children always come first, then you've got to look at your sessions that way. Go, okay, if the mental well-being of the children is primarily, or the safety is, if I increase the number of children without changing the activities, then I may well be compromising the safety of those children. If one of the core principles is to move learning forward, then you may well go, okay, yes, having more children does not move learning forward, so therefore I'm going to reject this or fight heavily against it. But the sooner you put these principles into practice, set them out on paper, as it were, even inside your head, the more consistent you can be, and the less people can complain about it. As long as you're consistent right from the start, these are the principles that I'm not willing to budge on. These are the principles that I'm willing to make compromises, and these are the principles that, yeah, totally fine, as long as they're aligning with the others, then you can present a united front. So it's really about getting things sorted at a high level before we bring it down to lower level, and then it just cascades down from there. So it'll inform every decision you make, and it'll make decisions a lot easier. And this is where real success and longevity is in staying true to a certain set of principles, a certain set of values, and a certain mission. The more clarity you can get on this, the more success you're going to have. As one of those fundamental business laws as well. The more granular you can be on your values, your principles, and the better you can communicate them, the more people are likely to buy into that and support you. So there we go. Habit number 2 is begin with the end in mind. Apply it to everything. Think about where you want to go before you go there, and you'll do so much better. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to make the most of every day, and I'll see you next time.